And like I said, when we record this, I will actually probably be dividing this up into, I'm hoping to edit it into smaller videos for you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I thought we'd start with what is a record book. Probably most of you actually know this, but we always have new families who don't always know. So can everyone see my screen okay? Or just to make sure it's showing. Yep. Awesome, thank you. Because now it's not showing on my screen, but
I can see record books due October 1st with a little chart.
Yeah, there it is. Thank you. Okay, so record books. So what I consider a 4-H record book is the project award book. So this is how you get your project pins, like the rocketry pin that's up there on the screen. They are due October 1st. And so there are 3 components to this. There is the MDC District for Project Recognition sheet, or check sheet. That is very hard to say, by the way. And it is in the front of your record book. It's basically puts in, and it tells you what all you need to include in that record book. You have a personal information page for this one, and then you have your Kansas 4-H project report. And I will go over all of these in a few minutes to kind of let you know what they are. But those are the things that you need to apply for a project pin, like rocketry, beef, clothing, or well, sewing now, and textiles, different things like that. Now, if you are just wanting to do what we call a pin application or your member achievement pin, that's where you're going to need the member achievement pin application. And we have our own in the districts to make it easier for you to get those pins because it's tailored to activities that we offer in our district. And then the permanent record. And this is a record where you've done throughout all your years in 4-H. But if you have not done a permanent record, just add in this year. I will encourage everyone to do permanent records because it really will help you when you start filling out like our Miami County 4-H Foundation scholarships, which are for Miami and Lynn County kids that are seniors. I know it even helped me with other scholarships. There were a couple times where I basically included it in my scholarship application because they needed documentation of what all I had done. So, excuse me, all of that is a great idea for that. And so all of these forms can be found on our website, and that's where I'm going to go next. So if you go to our website at mayordzine.ksu.edu or K-State, whichever one you want to use, there is two different pages. We have our pin awards. So this is the member achievement pin application right here. You've got the I Dare You Award, the Key Award, which are also awards that we offer in the Mayor Dzine District. For I Dare You, I think is for 14 and over and emphasizes leadership skills. The Key Award is for 16 and over and emphasizes involvement. It's the highest honor you can get in 4-H. And then the permanent record isn't up here yet because I didn't realize that, but we are getting that added to this page as well. So that is how you do pins. And those are some of your pins, like your membership pin, leadership pin, gold guard, all of those things. Then if you go to your record book page, this is where you find all the project records. So this is where you have that record check sheet, your personal information page, your permanent record, and even the evaluation rubric that we use. The project report, the permanent record is going to go to the other page. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. But the project report forms are in 2 different kinds. There's general and there's animal. Animal projects are basically for, well, animals that you would breeding animals and market. So dog is not included in there. I do think they do include rabbit and poultry. But your dog project is actually on the general form. And then they're also by age, and ages as of January 1st of 2024. So if you have an 8-year-old, they would be on the junior project form. If you're an 11 or 12-year-old, they'd be in the intermediate, and seniors are 14 to 18-year-olds. So that kind of gives you a brief overview. I was just a second. Couple other things here is so these are the awards that you can do, and they are for this year. So those are, well, I might have the wrong awards up here, but anyway, there are the awards you can do are the ones that you could enter in as a project this year. And so, like, yes, these are the right ones. So sewing and textile design is up there instead of saying clothing. You can do a shopping and style book separately if you want to. They're not combined anymore, and those type of things. So those are award categories. And then okay, and then this is that check sheet that I talked about, which is basically where it tells you what you do. And this one is specific to Marais District. There is one for Kansas 4-H, but it's more for going to area and on past county level. So for our district and county level, you will need to you should use this sheet. We're not going to count down if you use a different one, but do try to encourage them to have this. And it just is, that's where it gets those 3 things that you have to have. You have to have the record book check sheet, the personal information page, and the Kansas 4-H project report. So all of those things, that list of eligible ones has not been updated. So don't consider that, but we will do the others.
Karla,
Yes,
does that mean the seniors don't need the resume for the county level?
they do not have the resume for the county level. Yes, we've done away with that.
Thank you very much.
Because we had a lot of people who weren't doing it because of that. So they will have to do resumes if they want to go on to area, though.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Any other questions before I go on?
Sorry, I'm late. I remember last year, it was my first year as leader, and you didn't actually need us to turn in the permanent record. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't, I'm going to take it. It goes in with the PIN application. If it's like connected to the PIN application and you want it turned in, you could staple it to the PIN application. I'm okay with that. But if it's like a separate booklet, I'm going to trust you guys as leaders that you have seen that and signed off on it. And the reason being is it is really an emphasis in the permanent record because of the way of all the record keeping it teaches kids. It teaches kids to keep records and know what they do. And I will be honest, the other thing in Marais District that we've done is our membership achievement pin is almost a permanent record. So if you fill that out, you can really quickly put that information into a permanent record and have it there. It even has what sections everything goes in.
Yeah, that's awesome. We all like that.
So it's not a hard thing. And this is the other thing. I do want you guys to be accurate on things, but I would also say don't stress yourself out about it. I'd rather you have some things down and forget some things than to be stressing out about making sure you have everything. The thing is, I would like to build on it. And I'm going to kind of talk about that a little bit later too, but just make sure you're building on your things. So if you don't have a lot and you have a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old and you don't have a lot, or it's your first time, or it's your 4-H's first time doing record books, then you don't mind. I have a lot, but just try to improve next year and just keep improving, because that's the 4-H way. It's not having to be perfect the first time out. So, or getting, basically stressed out about this and never wanting to do it again.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure too that as we're doing our training, because we're about to have a record book workshop with our kids. I mean, I'm trying to collect those and just so that they get used to doing them as well.
Mhm.
And emphasizing that, it needs to be an ongoing record that they keep so that they can apply for scholarships as they get older. But I just wasn't sure if I have to make sure those are attached and included when they turn them in.
No,
So,
no, we kind of leave that to our club leaders. And,
okay.
it is good to have them, keep doing them as they go along
Mhm.
as well, because I know we're all procrastinators. I get that because, or most, I shouldn't say all of us, most of us are procrastinators, and I understand that. I am too. But if you start it and do it along the way, it makes it a lot easier. If you have,
Mhm.
a few times, like once a month, sometimes I've heard of clubs doing it at club meetings or anything. If you get in there and actually do that, it makes it a lot easier than waiting till last minute and trying to remember what you did.
Yep.
Oh, what did you do last October or that? And
And
the other thing is
we
to make sure
tried
you
to do
have a
that.
good calendar or record keeping system if you are going to wait that has what you have done on it.
Mhm. Yeah, we really tried to do that this last year with our club is like we blew up the record and the permanent record and tried to, show what the 4-H club had done and where to put those. And that's what our reporters kind of would highlight at the meetings and then hoping that would kind of get passed down. But I haven't seen a lot turned in yet. So I'm a little worried.
And we're waiting until October.
That's right. Exactly. September 29th.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right.
Okay. Thank you.
Good questions. Anything else? Okay, so in my if you guys have been at my past record book trainings, I've really went over the um, basically the paper forms, and you can still do paper forms. There's nothing wrong with that, but I really like the Zsuites opportunity. I think it makes it a lot easier, and I think there's some definite benefits to it. It's going to look different, and that's okay. But I did want to kind of go over that with all of you today. So so the first thing is you have to sign in. And if you haven't signed up before, if you're a new family and haven't been in here, there's the sign up button. Right. Oh, I'm not very good at drawing on my computer. Sorry about that. But there is a sign up button right there. If you already have it, that's great. And all you have to do is log in. And I actually set myself up as a 4-H account instead of my normal account. So you might see my emails a little bit different there. And so, okay. So when you come in here, you are going to do, I already have a test one up here, but I'm going to get rid of that here in a minute. We're going to go, you'll have your profile and you will choose your profile. Or if you have kids in here, you'll see their profile. I am going to go, I guess I should ask, has anyone on here not signed up for Zsuites, or have all of you already signed up for it?
I'm honestly not sure.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and then do it. So when you sign up, it's your normal thing where you have to put your email in and you have to put like an address, I think, and things like that. And then you do a password, and they probably send you an email to confirm that you are who you are, and that type of stuff. So you will do that. And then I got to find this. And that gives you like a household thing. So as you can see here, I'm in the Hightower household right now. And then along this, I'll try to highlight it, but along basically your left-hand side of your screen will be all your all the places you can go. So like I want to go to household members. And as you can see, I have a test member right there. And I can add the green one's an add a household. You just put a name, first and last name, what if they're a club member, volunteer, birth date, which you wouldn't necessarily need volunteers in here, and then it'll ask you what club they're in. So, and then you just add that, you click that green add a club, and it brings up, you can click Miami or Lynn County, and you can find what club you want to join. So that's how you add people to your household. I'm going to go ahead and okay. Trying to remember how to do this, sorry. I had it earlier and now I forgot. But anyway, I will go ahead and let's go ahead and add another one. Club member. Okay, so then you save it. And then I think you can go. Oh, I think you have to switch profiles. So then you have to go into your profiles. So switch profiles and then choose whatever profile you want. So that is what you have to do to get into your whatever kid you're doing. And you can have however many kids profiles on there you want. Once you've set it up for 1 year, it should be there for these roll over. So you can see last year's things on there and everything. So once you get into that, you can see our shared files. So this is our record book checklist, which I will update with the new project listing. You have the personal information page, and you can download those. Those two things are not like on here for you to fill out online. There's also our guide to Kansas 4-H project recognition there. So, and there is the state one as well there. And I even have the achievement plan, although I probably need to update that as well. Okay, so you can also have a to-do list if you need to know what all you have to do left on your record book. So like update things. If you go to records on the left-hand side, then you add the record on the green level. And this is where you name it. So I'm going to do one of the new ones. So I'm going to do sewing. And you'll put your club in there again. It'll only come up with the club that you had. It's a general report form, because this is where you pick whether it's general, animal, or permanent record, because you can add all of those things in there. And then you're going to come down here, and these are all the options of projects that you can do a record book in. So I'm going to come down here to sewing and textile design, because that's the new project name. Your project one is, let's see that she's, well, I'm going to say they're 13. So we're going to do an intermediate general report form. And then the program year is 2023 to 2024, because it's always October through September. So we're going to save that. And then all you do is you click on the yellow record name, and that's how you get into your book. And then if you noticed along the left-hand side, there's a whole bunch of things. So you go in here and you do member info, which is basically the first part of our project report form. this record belongs to your year, your club, your years in your project, years in 4-H, all of that. Then you go into project goals, and you can click here and add your project goals. So it kind of goes along with what they have. So you can do, your project goal, which hopefully you've already got those done. But I wanted to sew a dress using a new fabric. Try to make sure when you're going to do it, the one thing about Zsuites is it's kind of picky on that they do want who's going to help you. So maybe your mom's going to help you. You can check it if you've accomplished it. So you can put these in and save them and save. And then if you need to go back and edit that, then you can say, oh, I did accomplish that at the end of the year. So you can do those at the beginning of the year, and you can do those at the end of the year. Include this entry in your record book. You are limited in space on all of our project report forms. You basically have to prioritize what ones you want to do. So if you have more goals, that's great, and you can put them in this program, but then you have to go back in at the end and say, I really want to include that one, or no, I should not include that one. So if you want to include this in your record book, you hit yes, and you save it. And then you add however many more goals. If you notice up here, where I just highlighted in blue, like junior records have 5 goals, intermediates can have 10, and seniors can have 15. So you don't have to have that many, but if you have that many, or you have more than that, then you're going to have to pare it down a little bit. Any questions so far? Okay, I'm going to continue, but if you have questions, you can feel free to interrupt me, or you can put them in the chat, and I'll stop periodically and check on that. So, okay, so then you go to your section number 2, which is project presentations and communications. This is any demonstrations, talks, newspaper articles, social media, digital media, YouTube videos, anything that you made about your project. So if you were helping, your club learn about how to do fashion review modeling, you can put that in here. If you did a demonstration on the best way to hand sew a hem, you can put that in there. Anything that's related to your project that you're reporting on. That's the one thing to really remember on all these, your project goals. Everything in this report form needs to be project related. Then you have project learning. This is what you did. So these are your workshops, your field trips, everything that you did. So if you, learned how to put a zipper in for the first time, you need to put that down. If you watched a video on the best way to hem, and I'm using sewing examples just because that's where I'm going, but I think you kind of get the idea. It can be anything. It can be, if you're doing dog, it could be, you learned a new method of training for obedience, or you and your dog learned how to do a Rally O course, all those things. So it's really anything that you learned, project meetings, workshop shows, but not shows as far as, when you were showing your animal, unless there was a component to it that was educational. So I know some of our bigger livestock shows will sometimes have a fitting clinic with them, or a showmanship clinic. That could be put in here, but you're not where you're just showing your animal. And it is just like that. You put your date, what you did, what you learned, level. That's one thing I didn't talk about yet because I did project goals, but I kind of skipped over presentations. So level is basically where you did that. So did you do it at a local level? Was it a county district level? Was it a regional level, which means like within the Southeast region? Like we have regional contests, usually in Emporia and Yates. Well, I don't think it was Yates Center this year, but we have regional livestock judging contest, and we have regional or kind of a contest day, favorite foods, family consumer science, photography. horticulture, those type of things. And so if you did those type of things, that could be on here. So that's the R. The L's local, that's your local club or your local community, like town. C and D is county or district wide. R is regional, S is state. M is multi-state. So if you did something with Missouri, that would be considered multi-state. N is national and I is international. Okay. So we do have a question about where do things like field trips to Cedar Grove and working on the concession stand in the fair go under on the paper forms. If they are related to your project. So, I mean, you could probably put those under, you could put it under project learning, especially if they were related to your project. So I'm trying to remember what, you could put them under, that's a good, food stand, if you were doing a foods and nutrition or doing it on like community service or customer service type thing, you could definitely put those into project learning. But yeah, it's you're not going to be able to put everything on the paper forms if it's not necessarily related to your project. However, both of those things can definitely go on your permanent records and will definitely be part of are definitely parts of the member achievement pin. So hopefully that helps. Okay, so moving on, you have project exhibits and showcase opportunities. This is where you list all those exhibits, entries, displays. I know here in Miami County, our payroll office, after we moved, we decided we needed some artwork or some display work for the walls, and we picked projects from our county fair, from the Miami County Fair, to be displayed for a year in our office. If your exhibit was in that project was actually selected, you can put that down here. You can put anything that you exhibited at fair. If you exhibited something at an art show at school, that it was a 4-H project, anything like that. If you went to other, livestock shows like junior nationals, things like that could go here, all of those type of things. So, and like I said, you always have to say if you want it to be in there, and you are limited in numbers. And as you can tell, it's up here, the 5, 10, and 15 again. Project leadership. So this is your committees, your action teams, your offices, anything leadership related to your project. So, and we define leadership as teaching another person or group skills or information, including organizing or coordinating activity. So if you helped, if you were on the committee to help with a club fundraiser, you'd put that in here. If you were doing, leading a community service opportunity, that would probably be leadership, but you probably would put the community service part in the citizenship part next. So there's lots of different things you can do on that. Going on to project, this is your citizenship and community engagement. And by this, we mean helping out in your community and serving others without compensation. It needs to be related to your project again, but it could be maybe you donated a quilt to a family in need if you were doing the sewing project, or other things like that. So, okay. Then we kind of go to project finances. So this is where it's a lot different on the animal projects than it is on the general project. So if you looked at your project finances on the general, you're going to just start adding in projects, and then you're basically going to get a total income and a total expenses and your profit and loss for the thing. And let me go, I will show an animal one here in just a minute as well. But you just add in, so maybe on last November, and if you don't know the exact date, because this does require an exact date, just get close. So if you kind of have a month and a year, get close to the date. This is going to be bought or purchased. We'll put purchased fabric for dress. It's an expense, so it's on an income. And maybe I spent $60. That's probably too cheap, but anyway. And yes or no on the record book, and you save it. So then it comes here, and you can see your income and expense there, and that's how you get. So total income, I had nothing. It's okay if you have nothing. It'd be great if you had some, but there's some projects that you're not going to be able to, you're probably not going to sew enough to actually sell items, unless you might, but a lot of people aren't. So total expenses, and then your profit and loss. So I lost $60. Okay.
Make sure you add your fair premium in there.
Good point. Yes. Thank you, Carissa. I'd almost forgot about that. So yeah, you can have your income of your fair premium. So if I got a blue, it is, and also your, if you sold your project in the auction, you can add in your premium there as well. So.
And photography it will always have an expense because you had to have them enlarged.
Yeah. So then you can always have an income, and that makes it better. But yeah, so that's kind of financials for a general one. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and go through the rest of the project, but I'll come back and we'll hit financials of an animal project here in just a minute too. This is your project reflection. It is different for each age group. Like the juniors have just like questions they answer. The intermediates have questions they answer, but it's more in paragraph form and essay form. So you want to put in there, what did you accomplish related to this project? How did you overcome challenges? What did you learn? How did you grow in skills, knowledge? How did these skills apply to other areas of your life? And what are your future goals as needed? Seniors, they kind of have that too, but they have even less kind of guiding questions, and they just kind of go through and make it. The other thing is seniors have more space. I believe they have up to 4 pages, whereas I think here it doesn't really say 2 pages. There it is. You only have 2 pages as intermediate, and like I said, juniors are just answer the questions in with a sentence or 2. So project photos. So this is where you would upload your photos, and it's pretty easy. You have project learning photos and leadership and citizenship photos. Juniors will only have project learning photos. Seniors will have leadership photos separate and citizenship photos separate, and then project learning. So they will have up to 9. You are limited to 6 photos per page. So you have only 6 project learning photos and only 6 leadership and citizenship photos in an intermediate thing. So this is where you select your image. You can go to wherever you have it stored on your computer. We're going to do one of my 4-H ones. You open it up. I will be honest, if you can take landscape, that is much better than portrait, but I did do portrait. You need to have a caption, which just has nothing to do with sewing, but archery practice. And if you want to put kind of what you're learning or anything like that to give some more details, and then the date, 5/15. But that kind of gives you an idea of what it is like to do it. And it will not be that big when it prints on the page. It prints, like I said, that's why I encourage everyone to do landscape, because it'll print much better, because you will print these, even though these are online, it basically downloads them as a PDF and you print them out. So when you're done, you can look at your record book and view your report form. And like I said, it's going to look a little bit different than the PDF versions that are available on our website. And it's fine if you use those as well. But these are really good, and it'll just come out kind of like this. And I will show you the picture one really quickly so you can kind of see what I mean by, oh, that actually didn't do as bad as I was thinking. I think when you get 6, they might have corrected it a little bit. But when you get 6 in there, it does make it a little bit harder, and they shrink them down pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to go back to record, well, record book home. Okay, so I'm going to add a record here, and this time I'm going to go into beef to kind of give you an idea. So that's the animal report form, beef, and we'll do intermediate again. So whichever one is highlighted with the box is what you're in. So when I was in sewing, it was highlighted. Now beef's highlighted, so I should have beef. And yeah, if you notice, I don't have a project goal up there yet, so that's where I'm at. So when you come to finances, your animal things have a lot more finances. So you have your project animal inventory. This is where you can list all your animals that you have. So you get the animal name, the tattoo or ID tag, the breed, their date of birth, if they're male or female, when you purchased them, what your purchase price or beginning value was, if you sold, kept, or lost that during the year, the value of any animals you still have, and if you want to enter them in your record book. So you're going to fill those all out in that kind of a form, just like before. And then you'll have a total price of your animals that you own, and value at the beginning, or total for all animals, and then value of the ones you have at the end of your project. So that's the animal inventory. But then you also have an animal performance record. So this is going to be basically how well they gained on feed. So you've got a beginning weight, a final weight, pounds of feed gain, days on feed, average at daily gain, all of those things. You also have feed expense, because as we know, if we're doing animals, we have to buy feed for them. So this is how much, you put in, how many, any expenses you had. So, your how many pounds of protein supplement you bought in October and how much it cost, or grain or complete feed. If you don't have all of these, maybe you weren't doing a protein supplement at that time. Maybe you just had them on roughage for a while, which is, hay, basically pasture. Then you put those in there. Okay. Other expenses, this is where you get, vet bills, bedding, especially if you're going to shows. Most of the time you're having to buy shavings and bedding. If you have any insecticides, breeding fees, registration fees, all of those things, even transporting them to and from shows, to and from the vet, wherever you need to transport them, insurance, any grooming fees you have, show supplies. If you're having to pay to have housing or boarding, most of the time that's probably more on horses or dogs, but you never know. And then you have your income. So this is if whatever you sold. So if you're in the poultry project and you're selling eggs, that would be there. If you sold some calves, since this is the beef, but this is where they actually put premiums in here. So they actually have their own spot for premiums and ribbons and auction. Whereas the general one makes you put it in yourself. And then you have your ending thing. So you're going to basically figure out your average daily gain for your animals, your total feed cost, and how much it costs you per pound of gain. And then you're also going to do your value of animals that close a record, values of animals or products sold or used at home, and your total income, and your feed cost, all of those, and to see if you have a profit or a loss with it. So there is a lot more to the financial. Don't let it be overwhelming to you. The main thing is to just start and try to do it and do your best, and that will help. Okay. So that was a quick one of the Kansas 4-H project report forms in Zsuites, but the same information is on the PDF versions as well. So are there any questions that I haven't answered on that so far? Okay. I'm going to go back and do one more thing because just to show you the permanent record. So if you want to do your permanent record online, which I would encourage all of you to do, it is, it's really easy as well. It's just this one here. You don't have a subcategories 4-H and Kansas 4-H program. And you just start with the year that you started on it. So you don't have to do a new one each year. You can add to it, but just start with the year. So if you haven't done a permanent record yet and you want to start with this year, that's fine. If you have been doing it like on your computer in a different format, like on the PDFs, and you want to go into Zsuites, just start with this year. That's fine. I would just keep your other permanent record and maybe attach it to it, or keep it for your records. Okay, so I'm going to highlight that. It's going to have a little bit different information. It goes right along with the paper version as well. So you're going to have your member info still. Then you're going to do section 1, which is groups and organizations. You can do as many as you want. There's no limit on this. So, you can do however many you want. Just list all the groups and organizations. You do the same thing with communications, put down, what organization, if it was 4-H or non 4-H. Was it done with a team? Were you part of a team when you did it? What level is it at? All of those things. So that gives you all that. Then these are your activities. So the events and activities that aren't in any other sections, you put them in here. And then the last section is your most important recognitions. And it actually looks more like our PDF version than the other ones. So it will print out just very similar. It's a little bit bigger, but that's how you do that. Okay. Any questions, comments? I'm going to give the next thing I have is, well, we kind of talked about PIN applications. Do you guys have questions about PIN applications? Okay. All right. Well, my next thing is I have a few tips to give you for any of these. So let me get to that one. Okay. So my tips for you guys as you're okay. Zsuite, yeah, I'll answer that here in just a minute, Rebecca, okay? Okay, so just do your best for your tips. My tips are, do your best, use voice to text, and then just proof. I will be honest, I've been helping some of my nieces with theirs, and I have found that voice to text is great because you can ask them questions and you can tell them, and then they just, they love to hit the button and then have it go. They do have to talk well, because I have noticed that if they're stumbling over their words or don't pronounce word or enunciate, it will cause some issues. But if they could do that, I would definitely try it, especially with your younger kids, because then it puts it in their own words. And that's the really important thing, is that the kids have this in their own words. So they can put in there, you can ask them questions, and then they can hit the microphone button and put in, so what did you want to accomplish this year? And then talk about it. You guys can even talk about it ahead of time and then have them do that. Not every line or area must be filled. I think a lot of that was when I was a kid, especially if you were going for state awards or even county awards, you really wanted to fill everything. And that was a big emphasis. I'm not saying that's not important to some extent, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is to actually do records and teach our kids some basic record keeping. So not every line has to be filled. If you don't have something for communications, especially if you're a junior or, even an intermediate, that's okay. Just make sure just use it as, oh, next year, maybe I need to do a demonstration on this, or maybe I need to do an illustrated talk at my club, or I need to have some kind of video or, communication about that project. So use it as a goal for next year, but don't feel like, oh, I can't do this because I don't have something in every single section. Sometimes as you get older, especially seniors, you might have to prioritize your experience if you have more than the lines are available. So you're going to have to pick and get creative on how you put things down. Sometimes you can group things together. Other times you might have to say, oh, this is really more important than this. So, just kind of prioritize that. And especially as seniors, I would hope some of them are getting to that. Be as accurate as you can, and then just try to improve in future years. Like I said, it's not necessarily that you have to have everything just right this first year or your first time doing it, but just kind of try to keep improving, just like we always want to do in 4-H. Okay, so with the question, okay, so how do you get to Zsuites? Well, Zsuites is really easy. It's actually on our webpage as well. Sorry, let me share again. Okay, so if you come all the way down here to the bottom, well, no, it's not. Where is it? We did have it down here. So these are the how to create account. It's basically zsuites.org. Is how you get to it. So it's yeah. So 4h.zsuite.org. And you can get to it really easy. It is on a Facebook post that'll come out tomorrow. I will make sure it is on the web page, probably not till Tuesday, but because Julie does our web pages and she's not available till Tuesday. So we will get that out. But yeah, it's not hard to get. And if you if you have questions or anybody can't find it, have them give me a call or an email. Call the office or email me, and I will send them the link directly. So, okay, well, that's really all I have, except for questions or concerns that you might have. So, are there any questions? All right, well, I'm not seeing any. So I appreciate you getting on today, tonight, and hopefully this helped you some. If you have questions or, think of something as you're doing your record books, or if some of your club members are doing their record books and they have questions, feel free to email. They can email Kendra, they can email me. We have lots of people in the office that help do record books. So there's lots of people to help with that. But it is, I don't really feel like it takes a little bit of time and effort, but it's not necessarily a hard process. And I encourage everyone to try to do at least one record book. You don't have to do more than one for a record book for one project. You don't have to do more than one. But I really appreciate it if you would do one, because it is a good skill for us to have. Because you know, I'm getting ready in my job to actually to have to do my year-end records too. And so, you know, it's something that we all have to do as adults, and it's a good skill to teach our youth. So, and then one other thing I didn't mention, just kind of as my tips too, is that if you are turning in more than one project report form, please put those in separate folders, or I mean, they can be the 3-prong folder type sections. You don't have to have them in a binder or anything like that. But if you can put those in separate, it just helps us a lot at judging when we actually screen them in the district, because then we're not waiting for that book to get done. But other than that, good luck. And thank you all.
Thanks, Karla.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.